Hey guys, Lancy here. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks again for joining me while we look into the market movers for this week. And yes, I have been away for a while, but things have been pretty busy, so let's get to it. So first things first, I'm going to start with Modern because Modern is some of the things that have changed the most in the last couple of days. It's not really because of Modern, as always. There are a couple of things in here that make sense for Modern, but a lot of these are because of the new Commander decks and also because of Strixhaven. The biggest one is Creekwood Liege, which has moved up by 309%, which is insane. I actually don't even know if I have many of these, but I'm pretty sure I at least have one. And it's good, but it's not amazing. And while it does provide you with a black-green token, which is great for a sacrifice outlet, it only does it on your turn. So the +1/+1 is good for black and green creatures, which means, even a 1 mana multicolored card can become like a 3 or 2/4. Actually, no, 3/4, which is pretty good for 4 mana, 1 mana, but it's not amazing for what it really needs to do for a commander deck, but I'm sure there's a reason for people to buy this at. It does look like there's all different formats of it being bought out. Another one, Nullspine Dragon, which I'm not even too sure if I have. I think it's a good card. I just, yeah, I'm not too sure what's causing this one to spike. I know there are dragons in Strixhaven. It just didn't make too much sense. Exquisite Blood makes obviously perfect sense. There is a lot of life gain, life loss in black and green. So this will be welcome in that. And Elvish Piper, it's picking up now. It doesn't really work in elf decks, but it does work in some pretty beefy creatures. So that's fine. And Blooded Blossom for tokens. For either the black-green or the white-black decks for Commander that have come out for Strixhaven. Outside of that, there haven't been that many that have really fallen off. Stoneforge Mystic did fall down by 14% to $39.99, but I feel like this is more of a correction. It might stay steady there. It might come down just a bit, but yeah, there's no real reason for it. It just went up really high in the last couple of weeks, so it's just probably recovering. So Parallel Lives, Furnace of Wrath, another one that's moved up by 18% today. Another one to keep an eye on, Emrakul, the Aeon's Tron, which actually could be for Modern, since a lot of people are picking up other decks for Modern that can bring this guy out, or this lady. I have no idea, I forgot. But yeah, so playing this card is an instant win if you can get it onto the field and swing with it. So no doubt that it will still be a one-off in certain decks. And Consecrated Sphinx for 47. I think this was actually $50 a couple of weeks ago, but it has stabilized at 47. It looks like it's bumping up around there. For Pioneer, so Primal Amulet, which has moved up by 94% in the last week, or something like that. Maybe more than a week. I might have been keeping an eye on this for a while, but it's now $26.72. That's insane. And Dragonlord Dramoka, another one that's moved up by 10% this week to $27. Thousand Year Storm moving up by 16% to almost $17. These are some pretty heavy moves for cards that have already gone up by a lot. Tendo Shoot Dryad is one that makes a lot more sense because it does actually care about tokens staying on the field, and this one spawns tokens for every turn, which is really good. And for a Sapling deck, this is amazing. Arclight's Phoenix, I think this might have been because there is a certain commander card that does well with Phoenix from the commander set. Liliana Dreadhorde, not really much. Outer Dominance moving up by 25%, but it's not exactly an expensive card. Ulamog and Emrakul are dropping. That's pretty good. Elenda is coming back down. Hellkite Tyrant is coming back down. But these drops aren't as crazy as some of the increases. And I did say before that for now, it does look like the price increases are quite overweight when it comes to the decreases on the other side. Also, Mox Amber. Keep an eye on that one. Not too sure why that's dropping, but $35 is still quite a lot for that. So it's got its uses, but there's a chance that it might be coming out in a... It really shouldn't be coming out for Modern Horizons, but there's a chance it might be coming out as one of those back of the pack cards. I forgot what you call them. Next is... wait a second. Standard. I forgot about Standard. So Standard is a weird point right now. There are some cards that are moving up, Veto, Thorn of the Dusk Rose is still moving up, but he makes sense in a black-green life gain, life loss deck. And the rest of them are all um, they're all Strixhaven cards. Ugin is up there, but he's been bumping around a bit. And Birgi, I think this is mostly because of game nights moving up to $5, 19% in this week. But other than that, there really aren't that many cards that I actually care too much about dropping right now. I know that the Great Henge is dropping, but that's almost as much as a... Actually, it's not as much as a doubling season, but it's catching up there. And even Warrencleck's Monstrous Raider at $37.95, that's still very expensive for such a new set. The Great Henge makes a bit more sense. There might have been a bit of reason for people not buying into that card. Maybe that was less of it. But this can, I mean, unless that got bought out, Warrencleck should still be coming out from sets for the next couple of months, I would think. Moving on to Legacy. Also, I'm covering the dual lands after this. So, moving on to Legacy, there have been some pretty big movement as far as some of these cards, but once again, it's very hard to tell which ones are moving because of manipulation, which ones are moving because there's actually authentic reason for buying these. Tabernacle moving down by $6,500 to 10 by a drop of 10%. It makes no sense. So some of these movements are pretty crazy. A lot of these would be sold outside of eBay and so on, so it's not going to be easy to keep track of it. I did want to have a look at Commander 2021 and see which ones are the biggest movements there. I can see the Monologue Tax, which I don't think is actually the best of cards. It's an okay card, but I don't think it's the best. Has dropped down by 7% just today, and I think it's dropped down by 18% this week. Scholarship Sponsor, which I think is actually a really good card if you're playing mono white or maybe a white red deck, 45%. I think white blue, if it's got blue, black, and green, you probably don't need things like Monologue Tax, Scholarship Sponsor. In fact, it depends on the deck as well. Like, these cards are okay if you're trying to play big cards, but then it should be more of a question of why you're trying to play big cards in white or white red. It's obviously for angels and stuff, but it's still very hard to get that kind of scale or consistency. I think green can just do it a bit faster. But, you know, games can go up to 10 turns, and by that time you might have a chance. Moving on to dual lands, another week, another little bit of bump up. It is still all moving up. They're plateauing actually, but the peaks are dropping. So that's actually an important thing to remember. So, okay, I might have misspoken or been a bit too hasty. This has been a while since it's happened. So you can see there was quite a bit of a spike from 2018 to July 2018. Then it dropped down. April 2020 moved up. Then there was this massive spike for all of the high quality. So the high quality was being bought up, and then the selling price for that has dropped down to about the same as it was on the 8th of March 2021. And for some of these, I actually think that this is going to be really interesting. When the top end meets the average price, that's probably when we might see a flat line or a pullback. So Badlands is not happening yet, but, or sorry, there could be a bit of a bump, but that's actually going to be harder to sell unless something really changes with the economy, because you can see here when they met, that was actually a good buying opportunity. So is that going to be a good buying opportunity, or does that mean that the high quality is not going to be at the same price as the low quality? So the low quality has to sell for lower to sell, otherwise people are just going to buy the better versions. We'll have to see, and I'll keep tabs on it as well. So it is an interesting one where they can follow each other and then fall off. So there's a chance that the high quality ones might drop. Actually, these prices are looking better. $251 in TCG. You can probably get a better one. So heavily played, there's 4 of them. That's not the best. You can get a moderately played for 273. Once again, I might have to go back in time and figure out exactly what I got some of these at. That sounds okay, but for some of these, it doesn't sound too good. So we'll have to keep tabs on them. The one I'm looking at is obviously still Tiger. $382 for a moderately played still feels a bit much, but Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on it. And there are none of these have really pulled back enough that I would be like, yeah, guys, this is actually a pullback. I think the same thing goes for all of these, which is slowly buy into them if you want them, or if you really want, wait for the pullback, or at least wait for stabilization. So you can be 100% sure you're not buying at like a FOMO moment if you're going to buy a large amount. Next, so the market movers for today. Now, normally I wouldn't cover these because there are a lot of price manipulation, but things like Primal Amulet, that's a pretty good example of one that is actually moving exactly to demand. This surprises me. I mean, I can see that this is the top end one. I have for Savras just because I made a video all about her as the very first deck that I ever bought. For some reason, I love the Life and Death, the green and black Galgari. I love Dredge. I had a lot of cards for Dredge. Most of them are pretty bad, but yeah, there was a point where Dredge was pretty good. And yeah, so I'm glad to see her starting to move up, but only because I think a lot of people didn't really use her for the value that she actually provides. I think she's really cool. Creekwood Liege, so yeah, we kept tabs on this guy. He is spiking like crazy. The Bab, like, I'm pretty sure if I go to TCG right now, you're gonna only find the high-end ones selling for stupid prices. So there's a damaged one for $7.99, moderately played for $11.49, lightly played for $12.99. This guy has gone up by at least 4 times in the last couple of days. So Strixhaven, pretty sure black-green tokens. Uh, Rune Sword, which is a non-reserve list artifact from the Dark. 59 cents on TCG, but it is moving up quite fast. A lot of these cards, I think, are starting to move up because a lot of people are just looking at high end. Yep, there you go, near mint. So you can get a heavily played for $84.03, but a near mint will cost you a lightly played for $9.95. A near mint will cost you $20. Is it good? Pay 3, tap, target attacking creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Any creature damaged by a target creature may not be regenerated this turn. If such a creature is placed in the graveyard this turn, remove it from the game. If target creature leaves play before end of turn, Rune Sword is buried. Oh shit, I didn't realize it was 6 mana. Whoops. Never mind, terrible. This, on the other hand, Wild Growth is a really good card. $1.45. It's a common, so it's used in Pauper as well. But there are so many printings of this card, but it is actually a really good card. Strip Mine moving up again. This card, especially from the Antiquities time, is just really hard to keep tabs on because of manipulation. You can get some cheaper ones. I think there's what's the one I was just looking at? World Champion? No. Not too sure. Okay, that's weird. I think that's just... Yeah, okay, so there really aren't that many cheap ones. Too bad. I guess you can get 4th edition for $17. That doesn't sound too good. Cauldron of Souls for $2. Not a bad card, but at the same time, it's not a card that probably needs to move up too much. Yeah. Coldotha, Forge Master from Double Masters. Actually, this was a good card. Yeah, that was a good card. 64 cents on TCG, but it's not like it's moving insanely fast. The next Primal Amulet. Zombie Master. I don't ever remember seeing this card, but it does look like it's moving up pretty fast right now. And this is from 5th edition. So I'm not too sure why. It could be the foils. Dragon Tempest. Not too sure why it's on this list. Mishra's Factory. Yeah, it's moving up. $467 on TCG. Coal Golem, not on the reserve list. 50 cents on TCG. Be careful with some of these. Reserve list card, Mindbender Spores. $1 on TCG. So it's all over the place. It really is. Rayona Fire Dancer Extended. It started off from $20 and now it's $1.33, so that's a bit different. So I think the big thing is things are still going exactly as you'd expect. So what I would probably keep an eye on is if the market's actually going to flip or not. And if it is going to flip, then the easiest way to tell would be the dual lands. So we'll see what happens, especially for the reserve list. and we'll see what happens for standard as well, and for modern when they start opening up things. But anyways, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you again next time. See ya.